I'm Jen with the Faithful Sidekicks. Today I'm here to talk to you about a lovely new game in our collection called Marvel United. In this game, it's a cooperative game where we're working together as members of the Marvel hero universe, trying to take down some villain. The box comes with 3 villains, and I think our game came with 7 different heroes to choose from. It's meant to be played in about 30 minutes from ages 8 and above, 1 to 4 players. I like this kind of game. The first villain they recommend you take on is Red Skull. So that's who we're dealing with right now. The gameplay is actually pretty straightforward, which is one of those things I like, because sometimes I want to just relax and play a game rather than getting really deep, knuckles in. But there's still enough going on in the game to keep my interest. There's you're laying 6 different locations out around the board. There's, again, each villain works differently, so there's a villain card that you will use to set up how this villain works. Each villain has their own deck of actions that they do, and they each have their own set of threats. So there's plenty of stuff going on. Each location will be seeded with one of the threats from this villain, and they work differently. And whichever hero you take, the decks are very similar, but they each have differences. For instance, I've got Black Widow and Iron Man set up right now, and Black Widow does a wonderful thing where she will actually peek at the top card of the villain deck sometimes to figure out if that's something we want to deal with, or just put that card on the bottom and hope for something better. Iron Man sometimes actually helps out the other heroes by giving out tokens. In your game, you're all working together and you're trying to accomplish at least 2 out of 3 objectives before you can actually attack the villain directly. The objectives are either to clear threats. You need to clear 4 of the 6. Peach wants to play too. She's singing the song for people right now. Or you need to defeat 9 thugs. There's a lot of tokens in this game. What I think are the most critical ones are these little square tokens. On the one side, they're a red masked thug, and on the other side, they are a blue civilian, or innocent bystander, if you will. You need to defeat thugs, save civilians, clear threats, defeat the main villain, and all within a certain number of time, because you have a deck of cards that you're playing with, and if you run out of cards, that means you're KO'd. There's no discard pile for you to draw and reshuffle. So that's an interesting time feature to this game that I like. So you would set up the game. The villain starts on one of the spots of random choosing. All the heroes start together on the other spot. Then you start playing a timeline. The villain goes first, and they do something that's unpleasant. In this case, they're getting rid of innocent civilians and counting down to their win. So that's unpleasant. There's also crisis tokens that you might get, or you might take damage. You have a hand of 3 cards. If you take damage, you have to take one of those cards, put it face down underneath the rest of your deck, and now you have 2 cards. And that is your total health. Each hero then gets to play a card and do whatever the card says. There's punches, which help defeat thugs. There's movements, which allow you to move around the city to, hey, I moved 1 space. There's heroic actions, these big fancy stars, that let you either save a civilian or work towards defeating some of the threats that the villain has out. And I think I already mentioned the wilds. The wilds look almost techno to me, like 80s technology style. Here's the interesting thing, though. Black Widow started out by playing a card with 1 wild, so she got to do any one of the actions, the move, the heroic action, or the punch. Then Iron Man's going to play a card, and that card his action is going to be whatever was on his card plus whatever was on the hero card before his. And that continues for the rest of the game. So anytime you're playing a card, you have to think, is this going to actually be useful to the next hero that has a turn? Because I'm not the only one using this action. I love that aspect of this game. I will mention that the villains all have red minis. The heroes are all blue minis. And the artwork is actually fun, like kind of cartoony style. Like I said, the actual actions you're doing are not overly complex, yet there's still enough different things going on the board, and enough different things that the villain might do on a given turn that it still keeps you interested and attentive in the game, and it still keeps enough going on to feel like it's a meaty game, but it's actually a very straightforward gameplay. So, highly recommend it, and depending on where you buy it from, you might get a slightly different hero set. Apparently, our copy has Venom as one of the heroes, and it was exclusive to the big box store we bought ours from. So, it all depends on where you get it. But, recommended.